Once upon a time, in a small village nestled amidst rolling hills, there lived an old woman named Agatha. Agatha was known for her kind heart and gentle nature. She lived alone in a cozy cottage on the outskirts of the village, surrounded by a beautiful garden where she grew her own vegetables and tended to her beloved chickens. One day, as Agatha was busy in her garden, a sly and cunning fox named Frederick lurked nearby. Frederick had a mischievous reputation in the village for being a notorious chicken thief. He had a keen eye for spotting vulnerable prey, and Agatha's chickens were his next target. Watching Agatha from a distance, Frederick devised a plan to snatch the chickens under the cover of darkness. He knew he had to be clever to outsmart the old woman, who was known to be vigilant in protecting her flock. So, he carefully observed Agatha's routine, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. One moonlit night, when Agatha had retired to her cottage after a tiring day, Frederick seized the opportunity. He stealthily approached the henhouse, making sure to avoid any creaking floorboards that might alert Agatha. Just as Frederick was about to pounce on the unsuspecting chickens, a sudden gust of wind blew open the cottage door. The loud creak startled Agatha, who had been half asleep, and she rushed outside to investigate the noise. As Agatha stepped outside, she noticed the shadowy figure of Frederick lurking near the henhouse. With a quick wit and determination in her eyes, Agatha realized the fox's intentions. She knew she had to protect her chickens at all costs. Without a moment's hesitation, Agatha picked up a large wooden broom that stood by the cottage door. With every ounce of strength she could muster, she swung the broom at Frederick, chasing him away from the henhouse and into the darkness. Frederick, caught off guard by Agatha's bravery and determination, scampered away as fast as his paws would carry him. He had never encountered such a feisty old woman before. From that day forward, word spread throughout the village about Agatha's heroic act. The villagers admired her for her courage and resourcefulness in protecting her chickens from the wily fox. Agatha became a local legend, and children would gather around her cottage, listening to her tales of the encounter with Frederick. As for Frederick, he learned his lesson that night. He realized that there were certain individuals he shouldn't underestimate, regardless of their age or appearance. From that day forward, he never dared to venture near Agatha's cottage again. And so, the village lived in peace, with Agatha continuing to care for her chickens and protect them from any potential threats. Her act of bravery served as a reminder that courage and determination can triumph even in the face of cunning and deceit. Once upon a time, in a vibrant forest filled with tall trees and lush greenery, there lived a mischievous fox named Felix. Felix was known throughout the animal kingdom as a clever and cunning creature. He possessed a particular fondness for poultry, especially chickens, which often got him into trouble. In a nearby village, there was a humble farm owned by an elderly couple, Mr. and Mrs. Thompson. They had a small but thriving chicken coop that housed a variety of beautiful hens, roosters, and adorable chicks. Their farm was known for its prized chickens and the delicious eggs they produced. News of the Thompsons' flourishing chicken farm eventually reached Felix's keen ears, igniting his mischievous desires. With his wily mind at work, Felix devised a cunning plan to satisfy his chicken cravings. Under the cloak of darkness, Felix stealthily made his way to the Thompsons' farm, ensuring that his paw steps were as silent as a whisper. He carefully approached the chicken coop, his eyes gleaming with anticipation. As Felix prepared to make his move, he failed to notice a clever and observant owl named Oliver perched on a nearby branch. Oliver was known as the forest's wise guardian, and his keen eyes spotted Felix's intentions. Oliver knew he had to intervene and protect the innocent chickens from Felix's clutches. He hooted loudly, catching Felix off guard just as he was about to enter the coop. Startled by the sudden noise, Felix stumbled backward, his plan foiled. He glared up at Oliver, his eyes filled with frustration and a hint of admiration for the wise owl's vigilance. But Felix wasn't one to give up easily. Determined to satisfy his hunger, he decided to change his strategy. Instead of attempting to steal the chickens directly, he would try a more deceptive approach. The following day, Felix disguised himself as a harmless farmhand, wearing a raggedy hat and a pair of gloves. He approached the Thompsons' farm, pretending to seek employment. Mr. Thompson, a kind-hearted man, offered Felix a chance to work on the farm. Unaware of Felix's true identity, he trusted the fox to perform various tasks around the property. As days turned into weeks, Felix won the trust of the Thompsons with his hard work and dedication. Little did they know that he was secretly studying the farm's layout, seeking the perfect opportunity to strike. One stormy night, when the rain poured down heavily, Felix seized the chance he had been waiting for. Under the cover of the tempestuous weather, he carefully opened the chicken coop door and began to snatch the unsuspecting chickens one by one. Just as Felix thought he had successfully executed his plan, a sharp whistle pierced the air, followed by the sound of a strong gust of wind. It was Oliver, the wise owl, who had spotted Felix's treacherous act once again. Oliver swooped down from the sky, his wings flapping powerfully. With his sharp talons, he grabbed Felix by the scruff of his neck, preventing him from escaping. "You thought you could outsmart me, didn't you, Felix?" Oliver scolded, his eyes blazing with wisdom and authority. Felix, defeated and humbled, couldn't find the words to respond. He had underestimated the vigilance and determination of the forest's guardian. Oliver turned to the Thompsons, who had come running to investigate the commotion. With a reassuring hoot, he explained the true nature of their helpful farmhand. The Thompsons were astonished, grateful for Oliver's timely intervention. They expressed their heartfelt appreciation to the wise owl, vowing to protect their chickens more diligently in the future. Once upon a time, in a quaint countryside village, there lived a mischievous and cunning fox named Jasper. Jasper had a reputation for being a sly thief, and his favorite target was none other than the chickens that roamed freely in the villagers' yards. The village was home to a kind-hearted couple, Mr. and Mrs. Jenkins, who took great pride in their vibrant flock of chickens. Their hens were renowned for their beautiful feathers and delicious eggs, making them the envy of the entire community. Jasper had been eyeing the Jenkins chicken coop for quite some time. He observed their daily routines, patiently waiting for the perfect moment to strike. One moonlit night, when the village slept peacefully, Jasper decided it was time to satisfy his insatiable hunger for poultry. With stealth and grace, Jasper crept into the Jenkins backyard, keeping his presence as silent as a whisper. He approached the chicken coop, his eyes gleaming with anticipation. Little did he know that the clever Mrs. Jenkins had taken notice of his previous attempts. Mrs. Jenkins, having experienced Jasper's thievery before, had prepared for his inevitable return. She had set up a series of traps cleverly disguised within the chicken coop. From tripwires to concealed nets, she was determined to protect her precious chickens from the crafty fox. As Jasper neared the coop, he tripped one of the hidden tripwires, triggering a chain reaction of traps. Within seconds, the unsuspecting fox found himself entangled in a web of nets, suspended high above the ground. Startled and caught off guard, Jasper struggled to break free from the intricate snare. His cunning mind was momentarily confounded by Mrs. Jenkins' resourcefulness. The commotion awakened the Jenkins, who rushed outside to investigate the disturbance. They were astonished to find Jasper, the notorious chicken thief, trapped in their very own coop. Mrs. Jenkins approached the trapped fox with a mixture of sternness and compassion. She understood that hunger had driven him to resort to theft, but she couldn't let him continue endangering her chickens or those of her neighbors. As she untangled Jasper from the nets, she spoke to him firmly but kindly. "Jasper, it's clear that you're hungry, but stealing from others is not the answer. Let's find a way for you to satisfy your hunger without causing harm. Jasper, relieved to be freed from the trap, looked at Mrs. Jenkins with a mixture of guilt and gratitude. He realized the error of his ways and understood that there must be a better path. Inspired by Mrs. Jenkins' compassion, the villagers rallied together to find a solution. They gathered scraps and leftover food, ensuring that Jasper would no longer go hungry. In return, Jasper vowed to never harm another chicken and to use his cunning for more noble endeavors. Over time, Jasper's reputation transformed. No longer seen as a nuisance, he became an ally to the villagers. His natural wit and sharp senses were put to use in protecting the village from other threats, such as sneaky weasels and raiding raccoons. The chickens of the village roamed freely, their safety assured. Jasper, now known as the Reformed Fox, patrolled the outskirts, guarding the villagers' livestock with a newfound sense of purpose. And so, in this tale of redemption, Jasper learned that there are alternative ways to satisfy his hunger and contribute to the community. His misdeeds transformed into acts of protection, and he became an integral part of the village's tapestry, teaching others the importance of forgiveness and second chances.